Sanibona Mzansi, my name is Meti Girl Majozi. Welcome back to another episode here on Talkback Mzansi, a show that aims to empower all South Africans. Be sure to check us out on all social media platforms. You can find us on Facebook as Talkback Mzansi. You can find us on Instagram at Talkback_Mzansi, or you can just send us an email, talkbackmzansi@gmail.com. Don't forget to check out all our interviews on YouTube at Yebo TV. You can also find your host, Meti Girl Majozi, on all social media platforms. You can find me on Facebook as Meti Girl Majozi. You can also find me on Instagram at metigirl_Majozi. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce today's guest speaker, who was a director, Kuzalo, and is now a director with Durban Gen. Please help me welcome Mzansi Ndlovu. Sabelo, welcome to Talkback Mzansi.
Thank you very much.
How are you feeling today?
I feel good.
Really?
Yeah.
Right, Jay.
Right. So.
Well, siyajabula ukuthi ukwazi ukusijoyina namhlanje, and I hope we're going to have a good time.
Thank you.
So, let's just get straight into it. For umuntu ongakwazi esithemba ukuthi baningi abangakwazi.
Abaningi, yeah.
Ungathi ubani uSabelo?
Sabelo waKaNdlovu.
Yes.
Khule eNtuzuma. Just nje ngathanda the creative arts from an early age. And then from there onwards ngayehlulela, started practicing esikoleni. Ngagraduate esikoleni from matric. Ngifunde eLington la ePhoenix, and from there ngadlulela DUT la ngastudisha khona idrama for 3 years, and then after that ngena kwi-industry.
Babusungena nje emkhakheni.
Yes.
Osabona namanje.
It wasn't easy because I started out acting. Mengempintshwa yami ebesinenkampani nayo. So the aim was just to create our own work, because it's not easy to just get into the industry. So because the skill sets beku-actor, bekubhala, so nokudirect, so sayitshela leyo nto leyo, let's form something together and then bese ke si-create umsebenzi wethu. So yeah, for those who know me and for those who've seen me on set and nabanye abasazongibona, yeah, ngigraduateile, ngifundile.
He's a graduate.
Yeah.
So Shiluguti ukhulele eNtuzuma, if I'm not mistaken. So ukhulele eNtuzuma, how did it shape you ukuthi ube umuntu oyena namhlanje? Because you know exposure is very important, and nendawo ukhulele kuyona has great impact ekutheni ube umuntu oba uye. So ukhulela eNtuzuma, what impact did that have?
I always say to myself ukuthi every single story that I tell is inspired by the things that I've seen growing up in Tuzuma. Like asikho story ngisixoxayo ngaphandle kwestory saseNtuzuma. Yabo, in every little scene engiyenzayo ngixoxa story saseNtuzuma. In every little be it an episode, be it a movie, one day I'll produce my own movies and direct my own movies. I'll always be telling a story sokhula eNtuzuma. Growing up endlini where ngihlala nosisi wami, ngihlala nogogo. I was raised by ugogo wami, ubaba besebenza eMaritzburg. Uma ubese ngasekho emhlabeni, so sikhulisa ugogo, yabo. And growing up in that situation and being able to then see impilo, it wasn't easy, yabo. So kuleyo situation, and then also nomphakathi wakhona, because kwenzeka izinto man, every single day kwenzeka izinto. Be it umuntu mhlambe ngenze example nje ozo accuse kuthiwa mhlambe ugogo wamakhelwane uyathakatha, mhlambe kuthiwa usibanibani utshontshile, mhlambe kuthiwa ubani ujola nobani. So all those stories I find have filtered into my own life, and I project it when I tell my own stories, when I'm directing, when I'm writing, when I'm acting. It's the very same stories. Angifuni ukuxoxa esinye story ngaphandle kwalesi engisaziyo, because I find that is my source of power, and yeah, it gives me strength, it gives me a backbone, because if I'm not telling that story, what else would I be telling? Yeah.
So speaking of stories and you not having another story to tell besides Lesi Sukhulele Tuzuma, why entertainment industry? Because I believe it falls under entertainment industry, about director. So bungakhetha ukuba inoma yini, ungakhetha ukuba udokotela growing
Yeah,
up
yeah.
ungabona ukuthi okay abantu badlule ey'ntweni ey'kanjena yazini ukuthi ngisiza umphakathi ungakhetha ukuba iphoyisa ungakhetha ukuba so why wena ufuna ukusho iy'tori zabanye abantu because omunye ubengafuna ukuthi mebona inkinga athi ukuthola i-solution but when you want to tell the story so why directing?
First of all, nje ngifuna clarify something. So there's a book I once read. If you are familiar with Peter Brook, he's a theatre practitioner, great director, also Britain. So and I paraphrase, you are only powerful when you tell stories from your own cultural background. Yeah, well, so that's why I tell. It's not what I tell the same stories as Asentosum, but that's where my cultural background lies. And so from there I can be able to then expand because itori ngiyibona lapha or itori ezingi-affectayo are the same stories that you'll find universally in other countries, in other places, in other provinces as well, in country needs. To answer your question, why do I want to, or why am I doing what I do?
Yes.
I would say, firstly, I didn't choose it, it chose me. Yeah, well, and when you talk about the Bible, there's a verse, there are those who are called, but some are chosen, and there's a big difference. Me, I was chosen. From an early age, in Sunday school, when you go to Sunday school, they teach you about the Genesis, Adam and Eve, and then that's why ectanic when you Adam, you Eve, and then come send Christmas and Lala stories such as so that's the world I find it, like I said, called me. I didn't really one day no from esontweni and then sakhula lentuzeni ngasekhaya bekhona ubhuti wayenelentuze ukuthi uya-actisana yabo so wayecollector iy'ngane ayitshele ngokuthi hey one day you'll be stars like oleleti khumalo kuzofika umbongeni ngemazolithatha so already umphakathi already even from an early age waqala wadlala i-role in terms of grooming me into preparing me to the next stage yabo and so I started out acting. I'm a theatre trained actor yabo lezi abo TV zifikile but nje base yam theatre trained actor and then so ekubizweni kwami kuyona lento le njengoba ngisho ukuthi I could have chosen to be a doctor, I could have but le ingikhethile and so it became easy even noma sengifika esikoleni bengenza yona lento le ngakhetha idrama ngakhetha i-drama ngisenza ama-team programs even ka-matric and then noma sengingena e-tertiary still ngayokwenza i-drama and television studies and so ukuba i-director it wasn't a thing ukuthi ayi manje sengizo-director no because it's in the same world yabo I've always been acted, there's always been a director standing in front of me telling me what to do. It was a natural progression ukuthi I'll venture into that space. Like it would be a natural progression into venturing maybe into writing because I've always had writers in my surrounding.
So it's a ketile industry, it's a ketile, and manje you have to pursue it.
Yes.
So what are some of the challenges owabhekana nawo ungena industry?
So first of all, I must say ukuthi so the biggest challenge is that if you think about it, there are a lot of institutions, right? Year in and year out, they are producing students, or graduates, abazongena into the industry. Outside of that, there are community-based groups who are producing also abantu talented who want to filter into the industry. And then bese kuzoba outside of bonke labantu abatrainwayo, kuzoba khona abanye omunye ozohlangana naye la mhlambe eGateway ozohlangana naye eKeepcape ozokutshela ukuthi hey mfethu hey nami nginetalent ngifuna ukungena kulento le. So already there's a huge pool of talented people and untalented people who want to venture into this thing because they see it as a glamorous thing. You see people on TV and now so those are first of all the challenges ukuthi it's a competitive space. Yebo. So once usugraduatile mawuthi uyagraduate or once usumhlapha usutshela ukuthi I'm pursuing this thing, kunabanye abacompete nawe kuyona le nto le because there's so many production companies, yabo. And so mustn't mile lapha elayinini, that's where you realize when you are going for auditions ukuthi yo kuthiwe kufunakala ama-roles mhlampe abantu abawu-2 and there's like 100 people standing in the line and bazo-auditionela le role le. So that's the first thing. It's a very competitive space and those, first of all, those are the challenges. The second challenge is that imsebenzi ayikho. Yabo, ayikho imsebenzi. So what do you do? And so for me, that's why when we came out, we thought, let's use our tools to create our own work. Yabo, because we can't be waiting for the next audition. What if that audition doesn't come? Yabo, what if you go to that audition and you are not chosen? Yabo, so let's keep creating our own work. And so also that enables you to exercise the muscle. Yabo, because mawuthi ayifiki ilentuza umsebenzi opresent uzothini uzohlala so you have to keep exercising the muscle because once ungayi exercise the muscle iyahlala and the muscle fika lelo thuba uthola ukuthi si stiff le muscle sekufanele stretch and it takes time. So for us it was that. Yabo, there are other many challenges akhona njengoba ngisho ukuthi the first one is that the competitive space and nokuthi imisebenzi ayikho.
So njengoba wena ke wawuma kulo line usubona ukuthi no ibaningi enfuna ukungena kulomkhakha, usukhulumile about competition, wakhuluma nokungabi khona kwemsebenzi. So those are some of the challenges obhekane nawo ungena kwi-industry.
Yes.
So manje sikhulume nje usuphakathi ke usutholile le position usu-director, what are some of the challenges obhekana nawo ke manje njengoba usukuyona industry?
So the first one, just being outside of directing. Let's say if I was an actor, speaking from an actor's perspective, the first challenge would that be you have the role. And most often than not, abantu engihlangabezana nabo sebekuyona lento le ba actor already bazokutshela ukuthi I am looking for the next opportunity because I can't be playing the same role for whatever number of years, yabo, because nakhona iyakubhora leyo nto le, yabo. So ufuna ukubonakala wenze ezinye izinto to show ukuthi you are versatile, you can do a lot of things. So from an actor's perspective iyona challenge yokuqala leyo. But from a director's perspective, this one it's the same one and the same thing. Yes, I've got the opportunity ukuthi ngiyadirect la kuzalo, ngiyadirect with Durban Gen. But always nami ngicabanga njengalo o actor lapha ukuthi I want to be able to do other things, to do other genres, to do different things, because again that would then demonstrate my versatility in terms of lento le engiyenzayo. So it becomes a challenge ukuthi okay, you have the opportunity, but again you are striving to be seen somewhere else, yabo. And it takes a while, man. Just like you are here trying to make lento le oyenzayo even bigger, you understand what you put in the work and it takes a while. Unfortunately, umsebenzi lo esukhethile, anything that has to do ne-art ayifani ibhola ungadlala lapha bekubona ukuthi une-talent bekuthatha bekufaka endaweni, but la it takes a while. It takes a while. And the one thing that we have as artists, I don't like using that word because it's not specific, but the one thing that we have is that we are like wine. But wine, mawuyibekile endaweni ihlala isikhathi eside, so the more time ihlele, the more rich and yeah. So So which means the more uhleli uyenza lento lokhu uyenza, the more experience or the more fermented you are, the more richer you become. And I mean, the experiences that you then share are full of richness.
So yazi ngithanda ngoba ungenile ku-director no-actor. So ungenile kubeni u-director wangena nakancane kwi-acting. So wena as a director, I'm sure uyabhekana nama-actor noma nama-actress ase-experienced.
Oh, yes.
I'm sure it's part of my challenges enibhekana nawo. Umuntu who's like, I've been in the industry longer, I know my thing. So ungangena kancane kulokho ukuthi how is that a challenge as a director uzobhekana nama-actor abazokutshena kahle ukuthi imina ovelayo abanalokho ukuthi imina ovelayo ku-screen vele wena you are behind the scenes or umuntu uyathandwa unama-followers amaningi or ubona ngathi ngiyamdinga. So how do you deal with that?
So fortunately enough, I think it comes from my own theatre training. So that's the first thing. So because it teaches you discipline, and you carry that discipline into the next level of into a different field altogether. I've worked with like big name actors, people who have been in the industry for years and years. Ngingakazalwa nami nokuzalwa, yabo. People who I've always admired ngibabona ku TV, and masebe la uyasho ukuthi yo, and you sweat bullets. But I was fortunate enough ukuthi because ngaqala ngenza i-continuity kwi-industry, and i-continuity ihlala kanjeni e-direct. So leyo nto leyo enabled me to gain confidence in seeing how a director would deal with ama-actor in that space, be it i-actor enkulu, i-actor encane, but ngafunda lapho ukuthi okay wenza kanje lo, or naye approach lo. So mase ngifela kuleyo ndawo nami ngabona ukuthi okay nami ngizosebenzisa lokho, ngisebenzisa nalokho, but ngizoyikhandela yami approach. It is challenging. It is challenging because if you are dealing with because let's be honest, I don't care what people say, actors are selfish, you know. And once umuntu wavela escreenini uba naleyo nto leyo ukuthi hey now ngivela escreen, so you can't be showing this, you can't be showing that side of me, you can't be showing inzipho zami because my nails are not done. And so those are some of the things that we deal with. I've had an actor, I remember, Kuzalo. And this is very unfortunate because abantu bethu abamnyama sometimes babuye bebinga i-disciplines sibuye singabi nayo kakhulukazi, yabo. And I found that to be very, very hurtful and very ungabi nje ne-discipline altogether, ne? Abantu bethu laba abamnyama bona laba abane experience kuyona industry, when they are dealing with white directors, it's different. Whether umuntu mncane noma but because of the complexion, it becomes different. But maqhamuka mina or maqhamuka wena, young as you are, young as I am, and ngizokwenza, or I'm in a space where I'm directing older people, sometimes I found there's a lack of disrespect and a lack of discipline because uyabona ukuthi hayi intwana iyazinda intwana. So I found it to be very disrespectful, and it's a challenge esibhekana nayo ukuthi sabantu abamnyama asikhulisana, yabo. And they forget ukuthi even when you look at overseas and you look at directors overseas, or Spielberg or Spike Lee, or baqala besayintwana and bakhula kuyona lento le. But there's never a point where azokutshela ukuthi ngeke i-actor thize, yes ama-actor vela nako lokho, but there's always a respect ukuthi i-actor iyamhlonipha lo nayo iyamhlonipha lo, yabo. I personally wouldn't ask of an actor to do anything outside of whatever the work requires for them to deliver, yabo. But I've had experiences where an actor blatantly refuse to do what the work calls for, yabo. And it was kuba rough.
So yazi thina sesitholile ukuthi you're a director and ne-acting uyangena kuyona khona okunye okwenzayo kuyona le industry
Because training fortunately enough lapha DUT it exposed me to acting, writing as well as directing, so I'm able to use all these tools ngihlanganise ngenze lokho engikwenza. I haven't been acting for a while because I'm a director, and now I'm venturing into writing. I've just completed a program yase-KZN Film Commission, and nakhona ngiyenze because I just wanted to refresh myself because script writing ngasenze esikoleni. So bengifuna nje ukuyikhombisa ukuthi lento le kambe yayenziwa kanje, right? And so whilst doing that, last year I applied a Durban Film Office. Applyile nje ukuthi bengincede ngenze i-project yami, and so I'm still waiting for funding yakhona. I think izinto zakhona zaphazamiswa i-COVID, yabo, but already I'm going to be funded for umsebenzi engizowenza. There's a project I'm working on. It's called Let Us Be Found. So it's a project based on a real life event, but then ngihlanganisa nokuthi ngiyafaka like imaginative things. It's a project where a girl gets kidnapped and bamfaka in this endaweni nangazi nokuthi ufike kanjani. Njengoba ngisho ukuthi it's based on a real life event. Isihlobo sami sakidnapwa in 2018, bamthatha usisi and waduka nje sangamazi ukuthi ukephi, but she had a cell phone, she was able to communicate, and kule ndawo le ayikuyona wayehleli nabanye abamantombazana, yabo. And so what esetholakele, because they were able to escape kuleyo ndawo, mayisetholakele she completely blocked out yonke into eyenzeka lapha. All she remembers is that wayekuleyo ndawo leyo and kunalamantombazana enawo and babaleka and watholwa amaphoyisa, but okunye akakukhumbuli. I think it's her trauma that angazi mhlambe iyemenza ukuthi ablock zonke lezi zinto because she doesn't want to relive the experience. And so out of that ngayitshela ukuthi okay, ngizosebenzisa leyo nto leyo and recreate the story and just imagine what could have taken place while she was there. So it's a project about human trafficking and what women face when they are in that space, and how sometimes abantu besifazane are betrayed by the person that is closest to them. Yebo. And so the project sekanjalo. So I also write eceleni.
So we have something to look forward to.
Yes, yes.
Well, sengakathathi i-break siyosabona lapho ukuthi mesebheka ubrothers uSabelo, you're not so active on social media.
Oh yeah.
Is there a reason behind that? Because mhlambe as a director and umuntu who okule industry lena ulindele ukuthi you're supposed to be putting yourself out there, you know, ukuthi abantu bakwazi uthola ama opportunities and all that. So when is there a reason why you're not so active on social media?
Yeah, well, I left. I'm not too active because I left social media because back then it was Facebook in 2014 and Instagram ongakabi leyo nto le osuyona manje. But I am on Instagram, but I'm not too active, as you say. I found that when you go into someone's Facebook account, you are able to tell their personal things just by sifting through their Facebook account, yabo. And so I found it, I angifuni leyo nto for myself, yabo. Rather, which is something that I haven't done often, ukuthi ngipost umsebenzi wami nakhona, yabo. So the one other thing engizama ukuthi ngingayenzi ilento leyo ukuthi once usubona ukuthi ngiyaposta lento usuzoqala ungilandelele because of lento le. So not understanding ukuthi so lento le njengoba ngikupostela hayi ngoba ngisuke ngiheha wena amehla akho uyabo ngiyasebenza and lezinto osuke uyibona ezithombeni kuyasetshenzwa yabo so umsebenzi kuqala and then bese kuba lezinto lezo osuke uyibona mawusuke mhlawumbe ngipostile ngaleso sikhathi leso yabo and that's why always ngihlezi ngi-advise abantu ukuthi hey you must go to school. You must go to school and get any form of training bit. Ise mhlawumbe uhambile wafunda o-DUT or kobani or wafunda kulama community arts groups la. That's another thing abantu abayidilelayo because lezo zinto lezo ziyakufundisa ziyakutraina and they prepare you for the things to come in the industry yabo. And so I don't want to glamorize lento engiyenzayo because I work 12 hours a day and it's not nice. I love it and because I love it I respect it so much. Yes, ngizoposta phela lo ngiposta but it's the work first and then okunye ngalandela. I don't care noma ngilandelela for whatever reason ungilandelela but me I'm all about the work and the work shall speak for itself.
Ngisahleli naye kuSabelo Ndlovu, one of our directors ayo-ke iDurban Gen. So Sabelo, before the break uke wakhuluma ngokubaluleka kokuthi abantu baye esikoleni bafunde and I believe ukuthi that is part of empowering abantu. And thina la ku-Talkback we are all about empowering abantu nokushare ulwazi and exposing them to izinto ezihlukile. So what does empowerment mean to you and why is it important?
I think kubaluleke kakhulu ukuempowerisha abantu ane but before I think sibuke ekutheni omunye umuntu uzoempowerisha kanjani. I think fanele siqale ngokuthi wena ungaempowerisha kanjani ne. So esikhathini esiningi like for instance we spoke about social media and why I'm not on social media and none yabo. So, but I just feel like most often than not, lawo platforms siwasebenzisele for the wrong reasons. Kwesinye isikhathi ngizokwenza example. In this day and age, akekho umuntu ongenawo WhatsApp, akekho umuntu ongenawo Facebook, Instagram or Google or internet nje abantu bayakwazi ukuyisebenzisa. And so I fail to understand as to why kwesinye isikhathi umuntu mawukuthi ufuna ungena kulomkhakha ebese ngayenze research using those same platforms using the internet. So because I think empower kufanele siqale lapho and asking the right questions kuzona lezo indawo lezo before kuze kufike omunye umuntu ozofika azoempowerish. Angithi ithuluzi alisekho ngale ngaphandle lilaye lento zenesandleni sakho. So why don't we use those things to begin by empowering ourselves? There are many platforms and many places where one can go and seek the knowledge that abayifuna in terms of empowering themselves. Like for instance, abantu bacabanga ukuthi fanele usuhambe uyofunda ezikoleni ezile phezulu kanti sikhona lesi izikole la emphakathini yethu. So that's another form of pursuing your own goals and trying to empower yourself before the next person does that for you. And obviously there's another flip side of that whereby umuntu mhlawumbe ofana njengami or omunye umuntu who's been in the industry also kwenza like activations or workshops or organize platforms where using social media even in this day and age where they are speaking to the masses and empowering them and sharing their experiences and knowledge yabo. So zikhona izinto ezikanjalo whereby abantu bayakwazi ukukhuluma nabantu and baba direct in terms of where to go and seek whatever they need to seek in order to better enhance themselves or better craft themselves in whatever field they are in. So but I think the most important thing fanele siqale ngathi yabo. Uqale ngathi uqale ngawo yabo. Ungathi usasesikoleni but awazi ukuthi yini CAO form yabo ngoba angithi siqala lapho yabo iyona le kuqala ukugcwalisayo ukuze ufune mawufuna ukuya estagini esilandelayo yabo ungazi nanokuthi mawubheka la ukuthi zikephi indawo mhlambe ongayitrainer khona yabo by the time yabo lezo zinto so by the time ufika kumina uzongibuza ngama auditions uthi hey mfethu hey uzuqhamuka kumina usuthi hey mfethu awungizama phela awungifaka ngiyayi mina ngitshela ukuthi ayingeke mfethu why uzongibuza ngalezo zinto awunayo yini ifoni yabo but manje kodwa mawusofika kumina uzobuza imibuzo ekhombisayo ukuthi already wena usunalo ulwazi oluncane ngalento then we can have a conversation yabo so I think fanele siqale ngathi before sibuka izinto ezingale you start from within and move to then receive izinto ezila ngaphandle yabo.
So as we are fortunate enough to sit now as a director and usebenzisana kakhulu nama actor nama actress.
Yes, ma'am.
So ekuqaleni kwe-interview yethu siyakhuluma about some of the challenges obhekana nawo with ama-actor.
Yes.
And do you think nina as ama-director niyayithola i-credit eniyidingayo? Njengoba abantu bebona i-final product noma babona into evela phambi kwecamera and nina behind the camera anibonakali. So do you think are you guys credited ngendlela engabe nicreditana ngayo?
Yes and partly no. I'll tell you why I say yes. First of all, so I think it is very selfish and unfair to then single out and say Tina as a director or Tina as a actor because lento esiyenzayo is a collaborative thing ne? You are sitting where you are but ngaphambili kwakho kunama camera and abantu ababona ukuthi nabantu aba operate lama camera and if it wasn't for these people who are operating these cameras, if it wasn't for the guy who's directing you to say hey go to ad break go there so ngabi iplan alihlangani ngaba ihlangani yonke lento le and so unfortunately umsebenzi wami relies on not only the actors but as well as the crew, the guy who's operating the camera, the DOP, the focus puller, or the wardrobe department, the makeup department, as well as most importantly the production office. I'm a producer and a production manager, line producer, bonke labo bandi bona bahlanganisa yonke lento le. I just come and say, hey guys, this is the vision and sihlanganyela sonke kule vision esuke sithathe kephi kuleya blueprint lesibiza ngescript. And so if I single out myself, I think it's going to be a little bit unfair. Sorry, I forgot the question.
It's not about being credited. Are you guys credited?
So yes, we do get the credit. Yeah, well, and so njoba you mentioned it's different efforts because I do a different level of preparation before going into sets and actor izoprepare indlela thizeni and yenza preparation yayo before sihlangane la kumele sihlangane khona. Singahlangana sometimes outside of the work or sikhulume ngazo lezinto esizozenza lapha just like ngizohlangana nomuntu ozoproducer or the production office sikhuluma ngalo msebenzi engizothi mase ngifika ngowenze lapha. So it's different levels of preparation. Fortunately enough we do get credited emsebenzini mase iqala ishow so uyabona igama lokugcina ubani directed by bani ama end credits azokuvezela ukuthi I'm not just directing alone, we are a team. Khona nabanye engisuke ngisebenza nabo director in blocks, khona umunye ozowenza iblock ethiza aqede ngene umunye kanjalo. So ikhona ilentuza i-credit esoba khona. It's just that abantu the general public out there so there's this misconception yokuthi because I'm seeing the actor, it is the actor alone that's most important beyond abanye abantu abakhona la bengababona. And I think also there's a misconception yokuthi because I'm seeing this person on screen abanye abantu aba-exist or abanye eminye imisebenzi ayikho. So acting yes uyena umuntu o-actor but there are other job opportunities akhona ngemuva abanye abantu esingababoni. There's a lot of things that one can do ngale yabo. So I guess iyona leyo, yeah, we are credited ngaleyo ndlela esicrediteka ngayo, yebo.
So yazi njengoba silana sinale interview leni khona umbukeli osekhaya mhlambe yena ongacabangi ukuba u-director but ufuna uku-act.
Yes.
Okay, so ngingathanda ukuthi singene ekutheni wena ukhulume nomuntu ofuna uku-acta as u-director. Okay, so siyabona ukuthi kwi-industry khona abantu esifike sibabone asisezwa futhi ngabo. Uyayizwa leyo nto. So kumuntu ofuna ukungena ekubeni i-actor ungakhuluma naye as u-director ukuthi yini eyenza umuntu akwazi ukuthi agcineke kwi-industry, because khona abantu othi muzwa uma ekhulunywa ngegama lakhe and you're like ayibo usibanibani, khona othi uma ekhulunywa ngegama lakhe kuthiwa washonaphi usibanibani. So wena as umuntu osebenza kakhulu nama-actor ungumuntu ofuna ukungena kwi-acting ungathi yini engabagcina longer in the industry?
Oh yeah, that's a very good question, because si kuhlukile kunama 70s nama 80s isikhathi esiphila kusona. Why do I say that? Because today more than ever ngithi khona social media, khona zonke lezi zinto lezi, and so today we have doctors who want to be in front of camera. We have any person, that's why umsebenzi wethu udelaya ngaka, because any person thinks they can do what you do as you are sitting here interviewing me. But no, I ngayenza leyo nto because it seems very glamorous, very yabo, and it's very unfortunate ukuthi even ngisho noma like if we were to take or to do a little exercise, sithathe wena lama camera siphume siye ngaphandle, soon as abantu bebona ama camera bacabanga leya nto leyana and bacathi hey nami ngifuna ukuvela, akho mavela la. Akho mavela la, yabo, ayi nje obuhleli la, hayi ngoba lento le by chance or now awufuna ukuvela. No, uyayenza because it came from a place from within, and that's why you are here. And so I think kumele siqale lapho ukuthi udokotela nje, udokotela ngoba udokotela ungathi ngoba usule usiyacabanga ukuthi hayi no, hey nami ngangiyithanda lento, wawuyithanda uyenza ngangani. So there's a difference between umuntu obiziwe nomuntu onjani or obizwe yona lento le, yebo. The second part engifuna ukungena kuyona ukuthi abantu banalento leyo ukuthi ke ngizoya esikoleni ngiyofunda and then have something to fall back on. Aha, yabona ke leyo nto le, you always have something to fall back on, because when iplan lakho elinjani vele lento le wawuyenzela to have something to fall back on. You'll always be falling back on something. You'll always, because even noma sekukushubela awunayo discipline yokuyibamba lento, because unani wena you have something to fall back on. Akuna something to fall back on la. Once uyenza lento le, that's why mina when I walked lentuzeni DUT ngiyofunda kwathiwa yabona nje ubungena kule course le, understand one thing, you have no life. Once wangena la, you have no life. Why? Because this is your life, and this is my life. That's why ngiyenza zonke lezi zinto ezihlukile, because why? This is my life. So fanele siqale lapho, umuntu ayitshela ukuthi no, iyona impilo yami le, ayikho enye into engizoyenza engiyenza because iyona impilo yami le, right? And so once sakhula kulelo point lelo and saqala ukunderstanda kanjalo, I think kuzosinceda so that kungabi khona umuntu ozofika ezothatha ichance, yabo, kungabi khona omunye ozofika athi hayi no, hayi nami ngifuna ukudlula, hayi nami ngifuna ukubonakala. No, because understandani yona lento uthi yona impilo yami, and once mase understand yona impilo yami le, uba nani uzoba ne discipline. I think umehluko phakathi komuntu yasishaya discipline kakhulu, and ngizoyenza example ngale ibhola, yabo, because baningi abadlala ibhola abantswempe sibabukayo ku TV, but usuyezwa kuthiwa hayi loyo akasekho or use, and i-career yakhe esasi a promising career then falls to nowhere basically because of what? Discipline. mawunganayo discipline ngisho noma kuthiwa utalented kangakanani uzophelela la uphelela khona
kuthiwa
wayekhona yabo.
So sesibukile ukuthi ulasta kanjani kwi-industry and okubaleka kakhulu engingak-highlighta is discipline. So manje asikhulume ngomuntu kokuwukuthi unayo discipline, uyazi ukuthi this is where I want to be, akanayo is something to fall back on, this is what they want and this is what they're passionate about. How then do you grow in this industry? Because sibabone sebethola ama-awards abantu and you know yonke leyo. So how do you grow kule industry mase usuphakathi kuyona?
Again ngizobuyela kulona le point le discipline yabo, and being able to treat other people with respect njengoba nawe ufuna ukutreatwa njenge-respect yabo, because ayikho into emnandi ukusebenza nomuntu ekuzothiwa hayi utalented but they are difficult to work with yabo. So that's the one part. But also enye into man, it's very unfortunate because umkhakha wethu or even ngendlela lento le idesignwe ngakhona is that once usungena mhlawumbe let's say kwi-production ethize bavele befuna ukugcina because they understand mhlawumbe mawuthi ba-understand i-value yakho, abafuni ukuthi wenze ezinye izinto yabo. And unfortunately because asifani njengo-America where once mhlawumbe wenza i-soap thizeni uyambona leyo muntu uyenza for a number of years because one bahola kamnandi and ku-right nje vele yabo, whereas la sike sithande ukwenza ezinye izinto because iyona ndlela nathi sibeka ngayo isinkwa etafuleni, because mawuzowenza into eyodwa that's why abantu benga-understand ukuthi how come lo uvela wenza i-radio, hawu nangu sesiyambona usenza useya-actor, hawu nangu useya-presenter, hawu na, because mawungakwenzi lona uzosurvive kanjani yabo. So yeah, umkhakha wethu ukanjalo awufani again njengebhola ukuthi uzodlalela le club kusasa uzovuka, even though namhlanje sebeyakwenza lokho ukuthi hayi udlalela namhlanje le club 2 years down the line seshila usiyodlala because leyo club elandela imnikeza ideal engconywana. Nathi that's how we survive. But njoba ngisho ukuthi akekho umuntu ofuna ukusebenza nomuntu ongekho disciplined, ongekho wabatreat abantu ngendlela e-right, akekho.
Yazi, speaking of the industry, sengikhuluma from i-view yomuntu obukelayo ke manje. Nansi into esishuthiwe namba abantu baya-actor and yonke i-right. We are all about empowering abantu, ne?
Yes.
We want ukubona abantu beba successful bengena ey'ntweni. So wena as u-director, what's your take on ukuhlala sibona ubuso obubodwa? Because muhlele ekhaya you always like there's too much talent out there.
Yes.
Baningi abantu abangayenza lento, baningi abantu abafuna ama-role, baningi abantu ababheka ikhala, but sihlale sibona ubuso bodwa, umuntu umbona actor lapha. So what's your take on that?
Angithandi. I hate it. Why? Because again, like you say, ukuthi incisha abantu amathuba. Uyakhumbula ukuthi ngeke ngathi mfethu abantu aba-actor ba-selfish because akekho umuntu ozokucabangela ukuthi I must give you an opportunity. Why should I give you an opportunity? I'm going to take this job. Because why? Again, sibuyela kuleya nto leya, it's the politics of the belly. I want to put food on the table. So if ngithi hayi no singiyakucabangela manje ngikunikeza lento le, what's going to happen to me? Yabo. So it's coming back to yonke lento le sikhuluma, it's the survival of the fittest. La it's competitive. Okay, asuke ke lapho. Mawukhuluma ngezinto ngizokwenzela nje example because I've been exposed to into kanje. So when you go to endaweni efana nomasipala kanjani, they are always contracting the same people. And when you ask them what's the thought process behind yonto le, so the one thing abazokutshela yona amongst many other things bazokutshela ukuthi it is better to work with this contractor or this person because ne relationship now sesiya understand ukuthi when it comes to delivering but deliver kanje, and because bakhona kwi database yethu and siyazi ukuthi singabathemba ukuthi bawenze lo msebenzi, be it umsebenzi that is outside of whatever company abana so babathemba bazobanikeza yona. It's the same thing with the industry esekuyona, unfortunately, where people would rather work with familiar faces because one, they sell. If I'm working with someone who the public has never seen before, because remember, i-producer na ihleli lapha ekhaya yacabanga ukuthi hey ngeke man, nayo lento phela I need numbers, I need to be selling this product at the end of the day. So if I'm gambling, which it is in a way, you are gambling because you are taking someone who is unknown and ubafaka lapha kulesi space lesi. So now suke thatha i-chance ukuthi lento le anginayisho noma izosebenza noma izo. So once kodwa mase kubonakele ukuthi I know unetalento ngakwazi uyenza leyo nto le, they tend to use the same familiar faces and many different things because we understand that this person, you are not just you, but you are coming with a uzanezinto ngemuva wakho, you are also a brand and uzane audience yakho, and that's the numbers. Unfortunately, it becomes a numbers game, unfortunately, where people are thinking like that and they are thinking business. Yeah, but it's one thing that I am very I don't like it, because I also like to see different talents out there. I also would like to see different faces and different people. Yeah, well, because again, that when you do that, it opens up the industry. Yeah, well. So
i-reality engashintsheki.
I-reality
is what it is.
Yeah.
So manje uke wabala ukuthi wena wafunda e-DUT.
Yes.
So njengoba usubona lo mkhakha lona, imfundo nethalente ungakuya kanjani, kubaleka kangakanani, because khona ungaba nalo ithalente but amandla ukuya esikoleni noma ukuyofunda akukho, and then khona ungayofunda and then it's just like the talent is not there. Wena as a director kubaleka kanjani kwi-industry talente nokufundeni?
Kubaleke kakhulu, because mase sisebenza lapha ya asikho isikhathi sokufundisa wena ukuthi sisi imark yakho le, you must hit your mark. I don't have that time to be, because those things are things that even ngisho noma kade unga understand the technical side of your talent, but you are able to kuba easier if udlulile endaweni la ozoqeqeshwa khona, right? So but ngifuna uyi-addressa lento le ngenye indlela. There's a misconception yokuthi if sikhuluma ukuthi hamba uyofunda sisuke sithi mhlawumbe hamba ye-university, hamba yekiphi, hamba yekiphi. No, ukufunda kusho ukuthi hamba uyotrainwa, because mawubuka ayithi abantu ababukayo mhlawumbe abayazi i-theatre abayazi ukuthi khona abantu ababefana njengo-Gibson Kent, babefana njengo-Adolf Hugard nobani. So mawukhuluma ngenza nje example ngo-Gibson Kent, u-Gibson Kent baningi abantu abafundisa abangayanga e-university, but because wabathatha wabafaka la bahlala iminyaka becrafta lento, that's a form of training, yabo. And so abantu ave bethanda ukuyibandlulula leyo nto leyo ukuthi hayi because mina ngihambile ngayofunda mhlambe ngenze example e-KCAP and lo ufunde e-Wits shuthi kunelentuza no, ayithi sonke sinetalente la and lo utrainiwe la etrainwe khona, but mase kulapha ya kwesinye isikhathi akubonakali, kube yilo ohambile oshaya incwadi ezinkulu wafunda uyena obhedayo senzele into esingayiboni, yabo. Kanti lo oqale lapha ya uyothi mayifika la enza into ekuyiyona ebonakalayo. And so akufanele sidelele mangikhuluma ngokufunda ngithi hambe uyofunda, ngisuke ngikhuluma ngawo ama-community groups, because that's where you receive your form of your source of training. So ngikhuluma ngazo lezi ndawo like ama-art center nani because that's where you receive your source of training. So don't ever look down on those things because uyitshela ukuthi hayi fanele ngibe into no hayi.
So yazi as a director kwi-part yokuqala of our interview uke wakhuluma ngokuthi nike nibhekane with very difficult actors.
Yeah.
And njengoba manje sinale interview sikhuluma nanomuntu wasekhaya ofuna ukungena kuwona lo mkhakha lona.
Yes.
So how do you deal with criticism? Abantu abazothi I've been in the industry for longer, abangayimisele ngokulalela. So wena how do you deal nabantu abanjalo? Because manje sifuna nanokunika umuntu osekhaya ulwazi ukuthi mase udirector ke nanti iqiniso lesi uzobhekana nabantu who have been in the industry longer abayibona bebalekile ababona sengathi into ngeke iyenzeke bona bebengekho. So how do you deal with abantu abanjalo?
So I'll talk from experience, ne? I was very fortunate during the time ngisa trainer because the one thing ngathi safunda esahlezi sikhambe lectureishwa ngayo ukuthi you must be open to criticism. It is up to you ukuthi wenzani ngaleyo criticism, but because wenza lento ebukwa umphakathi you must be open to criticism, yabo. So there are two forms of criticism. Kune criticism ezothi ma umuntu ekunikeza yona it breaks you down. It breaks you down ngale ndlela leyo ukuthi ayikho constructive, ayikwakhi indawo yabo. And then bese kuba khona le azoyisho umuntu isho noma mhlambe akubreaka down but uyakwakha. So izinto eziwu-two ehlukile. And so ukona lokho kune approach yokwenza lokho, yabo. Ukuthi umuntu the time siyoyenza leyo nto leyo uyenza kanjani, bethu i-approacha ngendlela e-right or i-approacha ngendlela elentuzayo eyakhayo noma ebhidlizayo, yabo. So by understanding lezo zinto lezo, I think I was able to then navigate into the world where I'm speaking, as you were saying, to people who've been in the industry longer than I have, ukuthi mangikhuluma naye ngiba ne-approach ethize and understanding ukuthi hayi lo muntu lo first of all mdala kunami but ngomsebenzi akekho umuntu omdala vele, yabo. So ngibe ne-approach ngendlela yokuthi ngisho kanjani lento le. Bese kuba khona ke njengoba dusha ukuthi kunabantu abayitshela ukuthi hey mina hayi shame uzoba kanjalo forever, we don't really care about you, we just switch off and sikhulume nalabantu ekumele sikhulume nabo azosilalela. Wena you can keep being a person who's been in the industry for long and whatever, you uzoba kanjalo and you'll keep giving the people who are watching the same rendition of performance wawunayo ngale sesikhathi uzoloku kanjalo uzoloku because you are not open-minded, yabo. So asinandaba now.
And you won't grow kuyona le.
I to value you've grown vele. Usuyazazi ukuthi you've grown. So thina so khuluma nalabo abayitshela ukuthi there's still room for improvement and there's still room for me to grow. You can't you can't have a conversation nomuntu who's already hit the ceiling. Usesho into abayenzayo ngqubuza ikhanda labo kule ceiling over and over again. Yoze angazi yoze ube but bayohlezi beshaya ikhanda labo kanjalo.
So yazi ngenkathi ngingintroduce ngishilo ukuthi ubusebenza kuZalo and njengamanje ususebenza kwi Durban Gen. So how has it been, like as a director osekuyona le industry, like do you see yourself ukuthi uyakhula and how is it njengomsuphakathi?
Hey, it's a challenge. It is a challenge because remember I'm moving from a show we all know uZalo kwasho omunye umuntu wathi uZalo into yasemgaqweni. Why? Because kutshontshwa imoto kukhulunywa ilanguage yasestradini. Yes, it is family orientated, yes, but kunobugebengu kunana. So because again ngikhuleke phi into Zuma, and those things, family dynamics, I understand them. The world of the street, I understand them enough to equip me to work kuleyo nto le and bring elements or ngenza izinto engihalela ukuzenza or whatever. I mean ngithanda ama-action movie, so siyacosha lapha nalapha sizama ukufaka so that it becomes exciting. So the challenge is then moving from that world into a space where it is just medicine. You see, I'm not a doctor. I mean, ngafunda biology and I think ngathola C or whatever. Yeah, well, so I'm not good in those things, no. And so switching and moving into that space, it was a challenge because, like I say, it's medicine, it's medicine, it's medicine. And if I understand leyo and get the medicine right, then you are feeding abantu into engekho. We have our own challenges, yes, because sometimes we take creative license, masenza lezo zinto lezo, but in most cases we try not to take creative license outside of the realistic realm of what the medicine would look and feel like. Yeah, we do it ngendlela sometimes as we achieve or whatever we need to achieve. Sometimes siba nama challenges, we can see shoot our nama challenges. Again, in terms of my own personal career, in moving from that again to the next project, again it is a challenge. Yeah, because we spoke about why do we keep seeing the same faces. It's the same with us. The same people basobonakala benza ama shows are different because the broadcaster or the production house or the producers ayakwazi ukuthi usebenza kanjani, yabo. And so ukuthi akuthembe akunikeze opportunity, it takes a while nyana, yabo, but once usithole lo opportunity and igama lakho once la spreadeka elentuzeni kwi-industry uthi hayi lo muntu lo uyasebenza na umsebenzi wakhe, it becomes easy. So I think nami as a person who's growing into the industry, ngikuleyo nto leyo where I'm here kule space engikusona, but also looking for other opportunities that would assist my craft and help me grow as a person, basically.
So njengoba ukuyona le industry, what do you vision? What is your vision of le industry lena? What are some of the things ongathanda ukuthi ishintshe? What are some of the things ongathanda ukuthi ihlale zinjalo, you know, ukuze nale industry izokhula nayo and it benefits abantu? So what is your vision?
I don't have, unfortunately, like a big holistic vision as to what the industry should like. Yes, yeah, I would like to see, like for instance, more shows, more people getting opportunities. Yeah, so and for us to be taken serious and be given or be afforded a value. So lento sukuyenza a valuation ngendlela thizeni. But so that's one thing. Like I said, I don't have like a big you know, so but personally, when you talk about my own work, when I talk about my own work and my own self, a bigger vision for that is that I want to be able first of all to be producing my own work, directing my own work, writing my own work, because that gives me creative control. Yeah, and if I have creative control, I can then shape my own narrative to affect the grander scheme of the industry. Yeah, so if I'm able to do that, I can, in my own corner, change or make a dent in the industry. I did something positive or I did something negative, but I did something. Yeah, also, I don't just view umsebenzi lo engiwenzayo once I move into my own personal world. I don't view it as ukuthi ayingenza umsebenzi. I once spoke usisi lo ensebenza nawo Amahle ngamtshela ukuthi one day I would like for my work to be studied yebo in universities in ey'ndaweni ey'hlukahlukene yabo, and umsebenzi wami uthathwe ubuke njengento ukuthi la this person captured a time in our own lives or in our own history esasingafuni mhlambe ukuyi-confronta but wayi-capturisha, and this is where we are today. Why do I say that? Because when you look at Sarafina is timeless. Whether you play Sarafina 50 years from now, number one, is Sarafina and captures a time in our history, a corner, real time in our history, a corner that people today do not want to confront. Also, is Sarafina, what it does, it captures an energy. What is that energy? It's an energy, a youth energy. Yabo, because mawubuka iCast ya Sarafina, most of them are young, and most of them it tells about istory sabantu abasesikoleni, and so it captures leyo energy leyo. And I have not yet seen a movie or a series eyenza leyo nto so beautifully more than Sarafina, more than Yizo, because it captures an energy or a time in our own period of history, and I want my work to do that.
So, for umuntu who's looking up to you, usudlulile kulezi zinto usudlulile kuzona, usubonile industry ukuthi njani, what message would you give them? Umuntu osafuna ukukhula kule industry, osafuna ukuyifundela ungekho shona ngayo, what message would you give to them?
I would say talent alone is not enough. Yebo, italent lilodwa alikho enough if ungenayo discipline. But italent nayo discipline akukho enough if ungenayo lento abathi perseverance or bathi ukubekezela. Yebo, because zona zonke lezi zinto lezo zoyi-3 azikho enough if ungekho njani consistent. Yebo, so you have to keep at it. You have to keep at it. There are times where I'm sure even in your personal space where you feel like, but like I've been doing this thing and I'm still not being seen. Yebo, and we talked about wine.
Yes.
Ukuthi wine mawuthathile ufake kule ndawo ulibeke la ulibeke khona. Yebo, the more it ages, the more rich and mature it becomes. And fortunately, that's what we have. Yebo, whereas if uthatha umdlali webhola uthi akahlale adlala ibhola esena 32, hey, kuyambhedela. Yebo, but when 20 years or 30 years from now, you can be still doing the same thing, but manje usuyenza at a different level because you've matured. And that's what we have. But ibuela back kulihandele ngisho ukuthi italent lilodwa angelisakuyisa ndawo manje. Yabo, because awunayo discipline. But i-discipline nalo italent mawungenalo, mawunalo ungenako ukubekezela, ungenayo consistency, ngeke uzofika. So fancy ube nalezo zinto lezo and you keep at it. It's not easy. It is the most difficult thing ever, but just keep putting in the work.
Shothi abantu banika ama ingredients awu 4 kakhulu ukuthi talent kumele ihambiselane ne-discipline, ihambiselane ne-perseverance and consistency.
Yes, ma'am.
Ayike mbukeli kuyashiwo ukuthi ozwile oneyindlebe uzwile. So thank you so much Asabelo for joining us today. We've sadly come to the end of our interview. So manje umuntu ukuthola kanjani ke? Do they send you an email maybe befuna ukusebenzisana nawe or befuna ukuthola ulwazi umuntu nje uxhumana kanjani nawe?
I think email is better. It's sabzzero@gmail.com, sub0@gmail.com.
Ngosiphindela.
sabzzero@gmail.com. ero@gmail.com, subzero.com.
Well, thank you so much. Nathi uyakwazi ukusithola la ekhaya kuwo wonke ama-social media platforms. Uyakwazi ukusithola ku-Facebook as Talkback Mzansi, uyakwazi ukusithola ku-Instagram at Talkback_Mzansi. Kanti uyakwazi nokusithumela i-email, ave siphendula, talkbackmzansi@gmail.com. Uyakwazi nokuyithola i-host yenu khona lapha ama-social media platforms. You can find me on Facebook as Meaty Girl Majoz. You can also find me on Instagram at meatygirl_Majoz. But Savela, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sesivala nje. What message do you have kumuntu osekhaya njengoba sibhekene nalesikhathi esinzima se-COVID? Ukumduduza nje, ukumnika ithemba.
We must all vaccinate, so I think, yeah,
That's the best that we can do.
that's the best we can do for now. Yeah, well, up until the pandemic subsides. Yeah, well, so for now that's that, because really azikho ezinye izinto ezenzakalayo. Yabo. So once I think kwaphela COVID mhlambe soba ngcono, and then start doing things, and then mhlambe ezinye izinto ezovuleka. I know we are level 1, but yeah, imanje la siqala khona ukuhlanganisa izinto, and so I think we can start there.
So hamba nyo vaccinate. Thank you so much, and until next time, goodbye.